ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावदीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति।
किरीटिनं गदिनं चक्रहस्तम् इच्छामि त्वां द्रष्टुमहं तथैव तेनैव रूपेण चतुर्भुजेन सहस्रबाहो भव विश्वमूर्ते। श्रीभगवानुवाच मया प्रसन्नेन तवार्जुनेदम् रूपं परं दर्शितमात्मयोगात् तेजोमयं विश्वमनन्तमाध्यम् यन्मे त्वदन्येन न द्रष्टपूर्वम् न वेदयज्ञाध्ययनैर्न दानैः न च क्रियाभिर्न तपोभिरुग्रैः एवं रूपः शक्य अहं नृलोके द्रष्टुं त्वदन्येन कुरु प्रवीर। मा ते व्यथा मा च विमूढभावः दृष्ट्वा रूपं घोरमीदृङ्ममेदम् व्यपेतभीतिप्रीतमनाः पुनस्त्वम् तदेव मे रूपमिदं प्रपश्य। सञ्जय उवाच इत्यर्जुनं वासुदेवस्तथोक्त्वा स्वकं रूपं दर्शयामास भूयः आश्वासयामास च भीतमेनं भूत्वा पुनः सौम्य वपुर्महात्मा। अर्जुन उवाच दृष्ट्वेदं मानुषं रूपं तव सौम्यं जनार्दन इदानीमस्मि संवृत्तः सचेता प्रकृतिं गतः। श्रीभगवानुवाच सुदुर्दर्शमिदं रूपं दृष्टवानसि यन्मम देवा अप्यस्य रूपस्य नित्यं दर्शनकाङ्क्षिणः नाहं वेदैर्न तपसा न दानेन न चेज्यया शक्य एवं विधो द्रष्टुं दृष्टवानसि मां यथा भक्त्या त्वनन्यया शक्यः अहमेवं विधोऽर्जुन ज्ञातुं द्रष्टुं च तत्त्वेन प्रवेष्टुं च परन्तप। मत्कर्म कृन्मत्परमः मद्भक्तः सङ्गवर्जितः निर्वैरः सर्वभूतेषु यः स मामेति पाण्डव।
Why distinguish as stable and unstable when everything, including the transient and fluctuating, is Brahman? Many more questions. Only this first question was answered and I was asked to rework as the remaining questions was based on the skewed perception. Okay. Premise for the last question was Shastra says Brahman alone is. Okay. I say affection and bondage alone is. These are two extremes and in between other levels exist too. Okay. We're also trying to understand whether the Shastra begins with the premise of affectation and bondage or Brahman. The doubt on the question is rooted in affectation and the difficulty in bridging the gap between intellectual understanding of discrimination and practical application. Correct. So the answer gives you was also trying to understand how the answer you gave links to affectation as a challenge arising from misperception. Okay, questions. Question. Is there a connection between affectation, challenges of affectation, discrimination, and practical application? If so, what? Is there a connection between affectation, challenges of affectation, discrimination, and practical application? If so, what? Affectation is mental disturbance. Affectation is mental disturbance. Challenges of affectation is the inability to get out of it. One is you are affected. Another is you want to get out of it and you won't be able to get out of it. So affectation is mental disturbances are the affectation. Challenges is the inability to get out of it. Practical application means you want something like just get out of it like that. Practical application means it should happen like that. No, then only it is practical application. Isn't it? Practical application means I'm affected and I'm not able to get out of it. Something I should read, something I should understand where I can just get out of it like that. Are you able to follow? This is what everybody calls as practical application. Correct? First thing. The mental affectation always, the mental affectation is because of what? Technically, it's called ahankara and mamakara. I and aham means I, mama means mine. So this I and mine. This is the fundamental reason for affectation. The fundamental reason for affectation is I and mine. Aham and mama. So anybody touches that which is mine, I will be affected. As long as people don't touch that which is mine, I'll be very friendly. I'll be very affectionate. The moment somebody touches that which is mine, I'll be extremely affected. The moment somebody touches mine, another Swarupa will come out of me. As long as somebody doesn't touch that mine, I will have a Daivi Swarupa. The moment somebody touches mine, I'll have a Asurik Swarupa. So I'll be oscillating between Daiva and Asura. Asura is the predominant. Asura is the real. Asura is the original. Daivic personality is more of a social conditioning. It is more of a social conditioning. It is more of what we call as, what is that behavior called? To be politically correct, you have a behavior outside. No. You smile and say, how are you? Even though you really don't mean, you ask a question, how are you? And if the person starts venting out, what will happen? You switch off or you say, oh my God, why did I even ask this question? Are you able to follow? So when you ask, how are you? What is your expectation in that question? How are you? Don't went out. Don't, I'm not interested in your problems. I'm not interested in hearing any of yours. All that you have to say in return is what? How are you? I'm fine. Both will go back thinking they are very, both will go back thinking they are very affectionate, very loving, very caring. So challenges comes when that which is I and mine is touched, challenges come. Intensity of the I and mine, that much long time it will take for you to get out. Now the question, what is a practical application? The practical application is, what is that other one? Fourth thing, challenges.
Discrimination.
Discrimination. What is discrimination? This is what?
Connection between discrimination, the affectation, and the
Discrimination tells you that I and mine is the problem. Through discrimination only you understand I and mine is the problem. If you don't know how to discriminate, if you don't know, discrimination means buddhi. Only when you use the buddhi, the intellect will tell you the I and mine is the challenge. Are you able to follow? What is the practical application? The practical application is of two. One is the first aid and another is permanent. What is the permanent? Don't tell us about that, sir. We know that already. What is the permanent? Anybody? What is the permanent? Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampat. Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampat. Nitya Naimitika Karma. Performance of obligatory duties, etc. All these are permanent method to dilute I and mine. All these are dilution methods of I and mine. According to the Shastras, this is practical. Practical doesn't mean instant. This is where knowledge is important. Are you able to follow? We all believe practical means instant. Practical doesn't mean instant. Are you able to follow? Practical means that which the problem will never ever appear again. Then only it is practical. So you give something instantly and the problem is coming back again and again and again. Would you call that as a practical solution? But we call it as a practical solution because of we want an immediate relief. That which is immediate relief, we call it as practical. Are you able to follow? In Vedantic terminology, practical means this. A method by which it will never ever appear again. Then only it is practical. You do something and it is going to come back again and again and again. You are only doing first aid methods. You are only doing first aid methods. So there is a first aid method which what people call as practical. Remember, always. That's why here we are okay. You go to a person like Ramana, or you go to a person like Swamiji. Anybody you go and ask practically what? You can see a different face in them immediately. You'll be massacred and made a mincemeat of it. Inga adallam I will not do. Because I am worried about next week. I am not worried about this week. I am worried about the audience next week. Therefore, I'll be very, very compassionate. Are you able to follow? Practical means that which will not make the problem appear again is practical. Though it is time consuming. Instant means the word practical in the way that people understand is there has to be an instant solution. Not only it has to be instant and it has to be permanent. So according to the world, practical means instant and permanent. Are you able to follow? If somebody is coming and asking you for a problem that has been there for many, many janmas and come and ask, give me a instant and permanent solution. What would you call it as? 5-letter word. What would you call it as? Everybody follow? What would you call it as? Greed. It is just greed. It means the person has not understood what the person has not understood what the problem is. The person doesn't understand how long it will take for the problem to cure. Without understanding any of these, the mind simply says, I want it instantly. Are you able to follow? Therefore, what is practical application? Practical application means, number one, it should give a permanent solution. Number two, you should be matured enough you should be matured enough to accept the time factor in it. In between, can something be done? In between, can something be done? There is another method. That is why they say, every day do some dhanam, every day do some yajna. Yajna dhanam. Every day you do some yajna, every day you do some dhanam. It gives you such a tremendous, because that day you have done something good. How would you feel that night when you go to sleep? Are you able to follow? But the mind that is so obsessed with I and mine will not accept dhanam. The mind that is so obsessed with I and mine cannot do dhanam. Are you able to follow? When it cannot do dhanam, agitations will go on increasing multifold. Are you able to follow? This is the sequence. So what is the practical application? So two things. Practical application in the Vedantic sense means a permanent solution which may be time consuming, but it is not time consuming at all, because the cure is entirely dependent on the intensity of the disease. The time that you will take to cure is entirely dependent on the intensity of the disease. Now, you cannot have an intense disease and come and ask for the Konar notes, Shankar. Yeah, Kolaturnu இருக்கிறாரு சங்கர்னா அவர் தான். கோனார் நோட்ஸ்னு அவருக்கு பேரு. Vivek joke ஞாபகம் இருக்குதா? He will be the doctor. A patient will come. From top to bottom, each and every organ he will have a disease. Eyes are failing, ears are not working, lungs are not working, kidney is not working, nothing is working in that guy. And we will ask him one medicine by which everything must be cured. He will say, come out, he will say. Come out. He will take one big rock and I will smash your head. All problems will get sorted out. Are you able to follow? It is like that. It is nothing but the intense. So practical application in Vedantic sense is what? A solution by which it will not appear again. In between, on a everyday basis, how do we? On a everyday basis, what do we do? Do some dhanam every day. Are you able to follow? What is the practice by which you have to do dhanam every day? We have seen that any number of times. Panchamaha yajna. When you are doing the Panchamaha yajna, every day you are doing some dhanam, and that builds that is the practical aid of relief for that day. Are you able to follow?
Is it temporary?
Temporary. Permanent is through sadhana chatushtaya sampat. Permanent solution is through sadhana chatushtaya sampat only. From sadhana chatushtaya sampat, the ahankara mamakara gets diluted. When the ahankara mamakara gets diluted, then only the diluted ahankara mamakara alone can understand that this I and mine is fictional. When this I and mine, the diluted ahankara mamakara, when it understands this I and mine is fictional, it has no reality, which is called jnana yogyata prapti, Brahman is attained. Are you able to follow? So for Brahman to be attained, first the ahankara mamakara has to be diluted. For the ahankara mamakara to be diluted, certain practices are involved. And those practices are time consuming, like sadhana chatushtaya sampat. On a practical day, on an everyday basis, what is it that we can do? Panchamaha yajna. So a combination of everything, ahankara mamakara gets diluted. The dilution makes you qualified to receive knowledge. What is the knowledge? I and mine is fictional. It is Maya. It is imaginary. Are you able to follow? When you hear that I and mine is imaginary, fictional, Maya, we can't even receive it. Why? Because the I and mine is so strong. It means what? First, it has to be diluted. So the goal is set first. What is the goal? Brahman is the goal. A person who cannot understand that, what is the reason a person is not able to understand? I and mine is very strong. So it has to be diluted. For it to be diluted, sadhana, chatushtaya, sampath, swadhyaya, all that comes in. For that appears to be time consuming. Are you able to follow? On an everyday basis, what do I do as I am doing all this? Do Panchamaha Yajna. This is practical. This is how the connection is. Are you able to follow? Next clarification. How does Shastra define temporary and permanent? Temporary means that which appears to exist, but on inquiry ceases to exist. This is the definition of temporary. Again, temporary means that which appears to exist, but on deeper inquiry, it ceases to exist. That is called temporary. Are you able to follow? Take an example. We keep giving this example any number of times. Take the example of the desk. There is this wooden desk. In the wooden desk, something is temporary. What is temporary? The desk is temporary. The Nama Rupa of desk is temporary. Upon perception, it looks like it is existing. Upon perception, it looks like it is there. But you actually inquire into the true nature of it, you understand it as only Nama Rupa, which is fleeting and passing. So what is the definition of temporary? Temporary is that which is revealed through inquiry. Temporary is not to be seen. You can't see temporary. It is inquiry alone reveals it. That's why we say knowledge is required. What is temporary? That which appears to be there, but on inquiry ceases to exist, is called temporary. That which is not seen, but on inquiry gets revealed is permanent. Ab just the ulta. Are you able to follow? It is just the ulta. But sir, this definition of temporary and permanent we have not heard, no? Permanent means Nitya, Anitya, Viveka, Vichara. Temporary means Agama, Payanaha, Anitya, isn't it? These are all synonyms. What is the definition of temporary? How does Shastra define temporary? Temporary means that which is there. Pot, there is a clay pot. Actually, we don't say clay pot. We say pot. On inquiry, what do you understand about that? On inquiry, you understand that clay is permanent, the pottishness is temporary. If at all there is a word like that. Pottishness doesn't matter. Put one more word in the dictionary. That's all. So upon inquiry, it ceases to exist. So that which is there, but on inquiry ceases to exist is temporary. It means it's not revealed. So that which is revealed through inquiry, two things are open to you now. What are the two things that is open to you now? In the clay and the pot, inquiry revealed the two. What are the two that the inquiry revealed? One is the pot, another is the clay. Another is the desk, the wood. In the desk, there are two things that is revealed. Desk and wood. You see the hand. By looking at the hand, the light is revealed. புரியுதா சைலேஷ்? ஜிடியோட கன்ஃபியூசிங் இருக்குதா அது? When you look at the hand, what is revealed? Light is revealed. So light is not revealed through perception, but light is revealed through inquiry. Are you able to follow? So temporary and permanent is that which is revealed through inquiry. So Shastra does this inquiry. Constantly inquiry. So anything that you take, it will split it into two. Anything that you encounter, it will split it into two. So you encounter a human being, the human being will be split into two. Spirit plus instruments, matter plus spirit. So you look at a human being, the human being will be split into two. When they split into two, that splitting itself reveals what is temporary, what is permanent. That is the Shastras. So first the Shastra will split it into two. That's why you get very irritated. Why are you lecturing like this unnecessarily? Unless you split it like this, permanent will not be revealed. Unless you split it into two, temporary and permanent will not be revealed. Therefore, it has to be split into two. So what is the definition of temporary? That which appears to be there, but on inquiry ceases to exist is temporary. Are you able to follow? Now, with this definition, look at every experience of yours. With this definition, look at all experiences of yours. Everything will be revealed as temporary. The moment everything is revealed as temporary and you are able to do it again and again and again, a maturity comes. What is a maturity? What is a maturity? Temporary will stop affecting you. The temporary will stop affecting you. Otherwise, the temporary affects you. The temporary will start affecting you. That unaffectation is the qualification, what we call as jnana yogyata. Jnana yogyata prapti. Prapti vanum we say. Prapti means you should deserve it. How will you deserve to jnana yogyata prapti? Because you are coming and sitting in the class and we hear about the Upanishads and Nitya Mukta, etc. Because of jnana yogyata prapti isn't there, nothing goes inside. At the most, an intellectual entertainment, that's all. At the most, an intellectual kick. More than that, nothing happens. Why? Jnana yogyata prapti must happen. For jnana yogyata prapti to happen, you need to have sadhana chatushtaya. For sadhana chatushtaya, methods are given. Every day you have to study, do this, blah, blah, blah. But then all that takes so much of time, sir. Where do I have time for all that? Then what do we do? Do Panchamaha Yajna. That Panchamaha Yajna is also too much time. It takes 30 minutes. I can't. Panchamaha Yajna takes 30 minutes, sir. I don't have 30 minutes and all. Huh? Are you able to follow? It's okay. If you don't have 30 minutes to do Dhanam every day, it is okay. Because, see, even to take water and offer, we find it difficult. See, we are not saying get rid of your bank balance. Just to take water and give water, because you can't give. Any dhanam cannot be done. Are you able to follow? That's why doing, just taking water and offering, what is the problem? And we are not living in the middle of some desert, no? We are not living in the middle of some desert, isn't it? In the middle of desert, you go to Dubai, they give water to tap 24/7, water is coming in Dubai, in the middle of the desert. I don't know how it is coming there. It's coming there. What is the problem in taking it and giving? So it means what? The I and mine will refuse you to give in any form. The I and mine will refuse you to give in any form. Are you able to follow? Next clarification. How is the Shastric definition of temporary permanent perceived and redefined by the mind, leading to erroneous perception? The Shastric definition of temporary and permanent, the mind sees it as impractical, useless. The Shastric definition, instead of saying Shastric definition, take it more generally. The Shastras themselves are perceived as Useless. Because Shastra means you have to hear and not do anything about what you have heard. Shastra means you should hear. வீட்டுக்கு வந்து எதுவும் செய்யக்கூடாது. In the class, you should hear, do dhanam, do dhanam, do dhanam, do dhanam. And then you should go home and not do any dhanam, means you are following Shastra rightly. Supposing you hear, do dhanam, do dhanam, do dhanam, and then you go home and say, I have to do dhanam, everybody around you will shoot you down. Why? Why? That's how it is. Are you able to follow? How the mind perceives, how the mind perceives the Shastras. Shastras is to be heard, not to be followed, practiced. கேட்டமா நல்லா இருக்கா உற்றுணத்தோட இல்லையா? You hear it. As you leave, where you should leave the knowledge behind? Teacher விட்டுட்டு போயிடுங்க. At least the teacher will have, isn't it? You go to the temple, leave the divine where? So you go to the temple and you come out, you should feel the divine. You have become divine, isn't it? Yeah. That day, they just pulled inside, and said, touch the Kali, touch the Kali. I am scared to touch her. Because if I touch the Kali, I will become so divine that I'm scared of becoming that. I'm saying, no, it's okay. I don't want to touch. That man simply, you are there, correct. You are there. He just pulled and I have one more second, I would have hugged her also, I think. You go near her, you touch her, you are so purified, and that purification is so scary. Why? Because you can't afford to get dirty again. But we don't have that problem at all. Why? We will not have that problem at all. Why we don't have that problem at all? Because having seen God in the temple, where we leave God behind? Where we will leave God behind? In the temple only. Because God is good in the temple only, sir. Why bring unnecessarily God home and all and pollute the house, sir? That's where the mind perceives. What is the perception of the mind? Shastra is to be, scripture is to be heard and not to be followed and practiced. If you follow and practice, greed comes. Immediately you want transformation, isn't it? If at all somebody tries to practice, even then they will not want to go through the sequence rightly. What is the sequence rightly? Dharmic life, Panchamaha Yajna, Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampat, Jnana Yogyata. அது வரைக்கும் போகலாம். அதுக்கு மேலே சிலபஸ் இப்போதைக்கு we will stop that out of syllabus. Up to the Jnana Yogyata Prapti, we will restrict discussion. Amit. Up to that, we are restricting the discussion. அதுக்கு மேலே it is too different. Are you able to follow? That is so difficult to follow. Then I was like, I'm like, no, I'll worship her from a distance only. I don't want to go near her. That man pulled. Kolkata Kalinale, we are getting scared. Isn't it? You get scared looking at her only, you are getting scared. You run now. Why will you want to go and hug her also now? But then, you come out so pure, that you can't afford to get. Oh, you will feel so difficult to get dirty again. Are you able to follow? It's like having become cultured, you can't go back to uncultured ways, isn't it? Having become cultured, you can't go back. It is like that. Shastra should make us like. But mind perceives the Shastra differently. What? It says, I can follow, I am ready to follow everything, but people around me are not cooperating. Isn't it? People around you will cooperate, but the pet in your house will not cooperate. The pet in your house will cooperate, people around will not cooperate, the government is not cooperating, something will not cooperate. Are you able to follow? In an ideal world, when everybody is dharmic, I will become dharmic. Are you able to follow? This is how mind perceives. What is the right way? The right way is this. The mind resists. Shastra talks about a fact. Mind resists the fact. Yes. Shastra talks about the fact. Mind resists the fact. That's why mind says Shastra doesn't work. Are you able to follow?
That there is no temporary and permanent.
Shastra says there is temporary, there is permanent. Don't get attached to temporary. Mind will get attached to? Mind will get attached to what? Temporary only. Are you able to follow? Everything that the Shastra says, mind sees it ulta. Mind cannot perceive it rightly. Are you able to follow? Simple example. Mind says there is no problem outside. All the problem is inside of you. Your mind says?
Says what?
Mind says internally there is no problem. All the problem is external. Are you able to follow? Mind says self-correction. Sorry. Shastra says self-correction. Mind will say correct A, B, C, D persons first. Both. Are you able to follow? In every aspect of it, it is difficult. But then, that's how we need to grow. Are you able to follow? Is there anything else? Does the understanding of temporary and permanent differ across various levels, such as Bhogi, Yogi, Sannyasi, and Jnani? If yes, could you explain it, how it is defined at each level? Bhogi, Yogi, Sannyasi, Jnani. Now, these are all words that comes in the previous chapters of the Gita. Bhogi means one who is not at all interested in spiritual path. He is a Bhogi. The one who is not at all in the spiritual path will be indulgent. Are you able to follow? A Bhogi is an indulgent one. Yogi means one who has started the path. Sannyasi means one who is in the advanced stages. Jnani means one who has realized. Are you able to follow? No, Jnani will forget. Jnani will forget. Bhogi. According to Bhogi, he doesn't have a discrimination at all between temporary and permanent. He is so involved in the world, he is so involved in the senses that he doesn't even have time for this discrimination. So Bhogi doesn't even understand what is temporary and permanent. How do you say that? The fact that he doesn't even understand there are these two things, temporary and permanent, is what is making him to chase the world and be indulgent. If 1 ounce of intellect has woken up, there is temporary, there is permanent. Immediately that person will be a different human being altogether. Most of the human beings, 99.9% of the human beings, don't even have this clarity, don't even have this question on permanent and temporary. For them, it is so obvious. What is obvious? Happiness from the world is obvious. Happiness from I and mine is obvious. What is there to even question? The Shastric people unnecessarily they will confuse like this only. They are confused. Not only they are confused, they will come out and confuse us also. This is how the Bhogi says. Are you able to follow? Bhogi. Technically, Bhogi is one who has a tamasic intellect. Wait till 14th chapter. When we go there, we will not survive that 14th chapter. Up to 14th we cannot. From 14 Krishna is very difficult to handle. Because he puts the mirror so clearly that you will want to break the mirror and go back into your shell. So Bhogi means one who has a tamasic nature. Yogi is one who has understood it, but the mind is pulling him back every now and then. He's struggling. So he has understood, but the mind is still pulling back. That's where in the second chapter he says rasa. Rasavarjam rasopyate drishtva nivartate, he says. Rasavarjam rasopyasya. So for the rasa will still linger. It will pull back again and again and again. For sannyasi, very clear. What is very clear? The Jnana Yogyata Prapti has been attained. Having attained the Jnana Yogyata Prapti, one thing is very clear. What? Mahavakya Vichara. That Mahavakya Vichara. What does Mahavakya Vichara means? I am Atma Brahma. I am Atma Brahma. I am Atma Brahma. I am Atma. Are you able to follow? Jnani, again, he is a different category. He is beyond the yogi, Jnani. He is beyond. He can be a bogi, he can be a yogi. Yogaratova, Bogaratova. Jnani has the freedom to be a bogi and a yogi. அவருக்கு தான் அந்த லிபராலிட்டி இருக்குது. He can be a bogi, he can be a yogi, because deep down he is unconnected to both. Deep down he is unconnected to both. Yogaratova, Bogaratova. Are you able to follow? So temporary and permanent, the jnani has understood. Bogi has a ulta understanding. What is the ulta understanding? There is no think about permanent. It is all about temporary. He doesn't even understand the temporary. What he sees is real. There is no discrimination only there. Where is the problem? Where is the problem for a bogi? Life will hit him so hard, he will come and ask why. Life will hit him so hard. The pain and misery will wake that person up. They will follow. And then the person asks, why am I going through this? Why am I going through this? Then they will say political turmoil. Somebody becomes the president of some country, we are suffering here. All the drama, all that solutions will be tried for few janmas. இதெல்லாம் ஜன்மாவா நடக்கும், ஒரு நாள்ல நடக்காது. குலத்தூர். So in one janma, you will be convinced that somebody becoming the president is the problem. So in that janma will go in that only. And then another janma will go. So bahunam janmanam. Like that you will go through many janmas. And then finally one day you will ask, I have tried all this, none of this works. What do I do? Problem is here. Where is the problem here? Here means where? In the wrong understanding. What is the wrong understanding? Whatever be it. Nitya, what is the wrong understanding? You should have lived you should have lived an unselfish life. Dharma, you violate dharma, you go through pain because of violation of dharma. Wow. Freedom from pain now. Now you know how to become freedom. Now you know how to get freedom from pain. If you violate dharma, you go through pain. Now what is freedom from pain now? Become dharmic. That person dharmic matures to the next level. I'm not going to the details again and again and again. This is how this is the gradations. This is the gradations. Karma yogi and sannyasi. In this classroom, in most of the discourses, the Upanishads give a discourse to a sannyasi. Upanishads give a discourse to sannyasi. By mistake, what happens? Those who don't belong to the category also will come and sit in the class. So to them, some sadhanas will be given, even though Upanishad student doesn't require all that. So Upanishad gives a discourse to sannyasi. Krishna is giving discourse to karma yogi. Are you able to follow? He is giving a discourse to karma yogi. Do yoga. Do yoga. Do yoga. What is being yoga means? See, in 18 chapters, what is that one message that he is trying to give? He is not telling Arjuna, gain moksha. Because in the battlefield, Arjuna is not a qualified student for moksha. If Arjuna is a qualified student for moksha, he would have said, Uttrapadalla, waste of time. Let us go do Atma Vichara, Mahavakya Vichara, attain moksha. What is this, all that? But then he is not that mature. So what is that one message that what is that one message that Krishna is giving to Arjuna right through? For personal, private reasons, don't drop dharma. Avladha. One message of Bhagavad Gita. What is that message of Bhagavad Gita in one line? For your personal private reasons, don't become adharmic. That's all he said. Angada Swadharma and all comes in. For one, don't violate dharma because of your I and mine. Personal means I and mine. Private means I and mine. For the protection of I and mine, don't become adharmic. If you want to summarize Bhagavad Gita in one sentence, this is the message of Bhagavad Gita. And because Arjuna wants to do adharma because of his personal reason. What is the personal reason of Arjuna? Swajanam Krishna. From enemies, they became Swajanam. Swajanam means my people. So Arjuna's problem is not people. Arjuna's problem is my people. Are you able to follow? Now, because of seeing them as my, he is ready to violate dharma. And what is the readiness to violate dharma? This battlefield is not a private fight. If it is a private fight, go to a single combat. No. Why bring 46 lakhs and odd? Yeah, why bring 46 lakhs and all human beings? No. The animals, the preparation for the war, that which happens in the war. Oh my God, there is a beautiful documentary. So, finding the Mahabharata weapons. Somebody is doing that. He wants to see whether it is mystical or real or how it is. Oh my God, beautiful documentary. Beautiful documentary it is. See, it's a war. And we don't understand what is the war. What is the war? What amount of the time between the declaration of the war and the actual war started? It didn't happen the next minute. Because the way that we read story, you think the next day it happened. No. What is the time between the day that decided the war and the actual war started? You know the time factor? 3.5 years. Because you need to mobilize, no? What all needs to be mobilized? What all needs to be mobilized for the war? Kitchen has to be set. Red Cross has to be, Blue Cross or Red Cross? Red Cross has to come. Red Cross has to come. And then veterinary doctors also has to come. And the weapons will get. So every day they need to repair the. Now, how long it will take? Now, so much of activity is happening. Everything is happened and it's ready. And one fellow comes and upsets the whole thing because of my thing. How adharmic it is. Are you able to follow? How much of effort has gone into it? How much of thinking has gone into it? And finally, it has been decided. Nothing can be done. It should happen at that point of time. I will not do it because my. Are you able to follow? So what is the message of the Shastra, Bhagavad Gita? For I and mine, because of the weakness of I and mine, don't become adharmic. Don't become adharmic. In order to, that's why you will find lot of explanations has to be given to a person to follow dharma. Upanishad will not take 700 verses. Upanishad will finish in 5 verses. Mandukya, 7 verses, it's over. At the 7 verses, repetition. 6 verse repetition. It means for all practical purposes, 2 mantras only. Isavasya Upanishad, 18 mantras, 12 mantras. So much of it is repeated. Kena Upanishad, just it all finishes in 20-30 mantras. Why? Because they don't need that. When lot of elaboration, week after week after week, screaming on top of the voice, using the lung power. I don't know what is it called. For what? Upanishad student is not required. Sannyasi doesn't require all this. To convince a person to become dharmic. To convince a person to become dharmic is so difficult. So, bogi to yogi. The shift from bogi to yogi is conviction in dharma. And then the conviction in dharma, and then the sadhana chatushtaya, whatever be it, etc., etc., etc. Are you able to follow? This is how it goes. Hmm? The definition of temporary and permanent is common to everybody. That definition doesn't change. What is the definition of temporary and permanent? That will not change to all the four. That will remain the same. What is it? Brahma Satyam, Jagan Mithya. That will not change. Your understanding changes. Always remember, the facts doesn't change. Your understanding of the fact changes. So, actually, who's changing? You are the one who's changed. So, when the understanding changes, different stages of understanding, different names are given. But Shastra gives the same definition. Temporary and Brahma Satyam, Jagan Mithya, Jivo Brahmaiva Naparaha. That's all the definition of temporary and real. That doesn't change at all. There is no one temporary for yogi, one temporary for sannyasi, one temporary for jnani, one temporary for bhogi. How to come to that understanding? Different grades, different practices. சரியா?
So to sum up, the Jnani is seeing only Brahman, so stable and unstable need not be brought. For a Bhogi, he is seeing only world as real, so again stable and temporary and permanent need not be brought.
Yes.
But the confusion is for the yogi.
Yes. Yogi and sannyasi.
And sannyasi.
Verse number 48. Neither by the study of the Vedas, nor by yajnas, nor by gifts, nor by rituals, nor by severe austerities can I be seen in such a form. In the world of men by anyone other than you. Oh, great hero, Kuru Pravira. Kuru Pravira, you are the greatest among and he is the greatest amongst the Kurus. Juna is the greatest amongst the Kurus. Why he is the greatest amongst the Kurus? The warrior. I know what amount of training, what amount of concentration is required to be there. Moving chariot. And the moving chariots don't have brakes like cars. The moving chariot managed by horses. The moving chariot managed by horses. You are aiming at a target, and when you are aiming at a target, there are so many people aiming at you. You are moving, the target is moving, the chariot cannot be brought under. Sudden break போட்டு chariotலாம் அப்படியெல்லாம் நிக்காது. God, what a battlefield it is. What a battlefield. And in that battlefield, if a person can shoot, what amount of training, what amount of effort, practice, everything. Guru Pravira, Arjuna, you are the best amongst these people. And it is if you have studied the Mahabharata in full and we have known the details of it, then we understand this names. Why he is calling him Guru Pravira. You are stationary, and the stationary target you try and shoot, isn't it? Isn't it? Yeah. In the Chennai Marina Beach, they have no balloons. And between you and the balloon is only 2 feet. Between you and the balloon is 2 feet. And the pellets is given. Try and shoot. Onnu kuda shoot avadu. Isn't it? You are stationary. That is, even then, target cannot be. Look at that there. No? Guru Pravira. Guru Pravira means what a great warrior Arjuna you are. No, what amount of control you have developed, what amount of capacity you have developed, what amount of concentration you have, all that you are losing because of this I and because of this fictional I and mine, you are losing it. Guru Pravira, oh great hero of the Kurus. All this that you saw cannot be known by anybody. This we saw already. What is he saying? Neither by the study of the Vedas. Means don't study Vedas. Nor by yajnas. Stop performing yajnas. Nor by gifts. Don't do dhanam. Nor by kriya. Nor by the nitya naimittika karma. Kriya means nitya naimittika karma. The Sanskrit word ritual, kriya, means nitya naimittika karma. Not rituals in the sense of mechanical thing. So he's saying nitya naimittika karma will not work. Dhanam will not work. Yajnam will not work. Veda will not work. Tapas will not work. Then what will work? Then what will work that you can see this Vishwarupa is trying to highlight bhakti here. In the 17th, 18th chapter, he is trying to highlight dhanam. He will say it very differently. That's why we said in the beginning of the 7th chapter, whenever we did, I made a few remarks which everybody would have forgotten, doesn't matter. But I'm repeating. When we started the 7th chapter, I said when you go to 11th and 12th, we will understand what he is, how he is developing the thought flow so beautifully. Artha Bhakti, Artha Bhakti, Artha, Artharthi, Jignasu, Jnani, all that bhaktis and all he spoke about. And then he's elaborating. So, in order to glorify bhakti, he's saying other things don't work. But then you go to the earlier chapters, Yajna Karma is glorified. Karma Yoga is glorified. And then you go to 17th chapter, Dhanam will be glorified. In the 18th chapter, Arjuna asks, too much of confusion. 18 chapters of philosophy, I'm utterly confused now. Just tell me what I should do. What I should do for my Shreyas. Do Yajna Dana Tapas. Now he's saying, Na Veda, Na Yajnaihi, Na Dhanaihi. All that he's saying is useless here is what is going to say the useful. Now you are utterly confused. Which is useful and which is useless? What is the answer? Everything is useful. When one is highlighted, the other will be temporarily put down in comparison method. So what is the right understanding that we should get? That's where these kind of verses is where everybody takes one portion of one verse and they hold on to it. Somebody will hold on to 3rd chapter and say Karma Yoga alone is the best. Somebody will hold on to this verse and they say Bhakti alone is the best. Somebody will hold on to the 17th chapter, 18th chapter, Yajna Dana Tapas alone is the best. What is the right understanding? Everything has to be done. When he is highlighting one, the other will be the others will be. What are the spiritual disciplines? Study the Vedas. You have to study. You have to study the Vedas. Study the Vedas is what we say as every day. Swadhyaya, self-study. Every day you have to study the scripture. When you read the scripture every day, you will tend to become more sacrificial and charitable. If you can't study every day, hear every day. That's why hearing, studying are all one and the same. Shravana, Manana. So the mind will have a natural tendency to become sacrificial and charitable. Then you encourage the mind to serve, to sacrifice. When you are encouraging the mind to serve and sacrifice, the past memories will come, the rasa will come and say, Abdillah serve pannirukudadu, namakku vechikittu we have to serve. Aathula potalum, Ankar. Honor notes. Solungo, aathula potalum, alandu dhaan podum. Even when you give, you have to measure and give. Abdiyella, you should not give and you go bankrupt and you stand in the street. Blessed are those who can do that. That's a different story altogether. But then since we can't do that, so the rasa will come back. The rasa will come back and say, don't do that. Then you further, keeping the doubts and insecurities of the mind aside, you perform service and sacrifice, which is tapas. The resultant attitude purifies the mind. These resultant actions, the mind is purified. In this purified mind, in this purified, disciplined mind, Nitya Naimiktika karma alone becomes the lifestyle. A person will not know anything other than Nitya Naimiktika karma at all. So Nitya Naimiktika karma alone becomes a lifestyle. When you perform this Nitya Naimiktika karma alone, etc., you gain more maturity. It means what? You are not at all catering to your desires. You are not at all attending to the I and mine. When you are not catering to your desires, when you are not keeping the attitude of I and mine, all of them dilutes. When all of them dilutes, you are ready for the ultimate Mahavakya Vichara, self-realization. This is the blueprint. This blueprint will not change. Under any circumstance, this blueprint will not change, and you can't mix up levels. When you say blueprint means levels, gradations. Third floor, cut it to first floor, first floor, you have to go to the third floor. So even though we say this is the blueprint, the sequence also is krama. It's called krama. Krama means it has to be done in the sequence. When you do all this, you will attain is the blueprint. Now, in the series of long discussion that he is having, Arjuna is having various doubts, various problems. So to address those doubts and the problems, he will highlight one thing. So in this context, what he is highlighting? He is highlighting bhakti. So he is saying, only with this bhakti you can do it, Arjuna. Because you had this bhakti, you had an opportunity to see this. You had an opportunity to see this Vishwarupa, not seen by anyone, before. சொல்லினே இருக்கிறார், எல்லாருக்கும் காமிச்சுனே இருக்கிறார். Yeah, he's showing the Vishwarupa to everybody, and he keeps telling everybody the same thing. What? Nobody has seen it except you. Nobody has seen it except you. And everybody is. Why? You open your eyes, there is Vishwarupa for us also. You open your eyes, there is Vishwarupa right in the front. Yeah, right in the front of you, there is Vishwarupa. But very few can see it, rest are blinded. Very few can see the Vishwarupa, and you are that one. Why? Because we all can get temporarily motivated and see Vishwarupa for a short period of time. Like that, it has happened to Arjuna here. Just as we also go through some temporary moments of inspiration and we say, wow, oh, I felt so divine. Yeah. Felt so divine. Isn't it? That's why in all our temples and everything, we always connect it to the great souls of the past. Why? You go to Vrindavan, oh, Krishna has walked on this road once. Krishna has walked in the same land that we are walking. Wow. What a feeling it is. You go to a temple here, Pandavas came and worshipped here. Agastya came and worshipped here. Why we connect it like that? All temples will be connected to some great personalities, like, or they will say, Shankaracharya built it. This great person built it. It means what? Somewhere they are so desperate in making us to get motivated, inspired. And Kolattur, if they are smart, we are smarter, isn't it? We are smarter in escaping, isn't it? We are smarter in escaping. Verse number 49 padinga.
माते व्यथा माच विमूढ भावः दृष्ट्वा रूपं घोरमीदृङ्ममेदम् व्यपेतभिप्रीतमनः पुनः स्वम् तदेव मे रूपमिदं प्रपश्य मा ते व्यथा मा च विमूढभावः दृष्ट्वा रूपं घोरमीदृङ्ममेदम् व्यपेतभिप्रीतमनः पुनः स्वम् तदेव मे रूपमिदं प्रपश्य.
Having seen such a terrible form of mind as this, be not bewildered, fearless. With gladdened heart, you again behold this former form of mind indeed. Having seen such a terrible form of mind as this, be not bewildered. Fearless, with gladdened heart, you again behold this former form of mind indeed. What is he saying? Vishwarupa, I showed you. Forget it. I'll go back to, forget it. I'll go back to what amount of patience and what amount of love he must be having to do all this. What amount of love and compassion he must be having to do all this. He's saying, having seen this terrible form, now you are not able to take it, leave it. Ghora Rupam, cosmic form, is frightening and cruel to those who are unprepared. Remember that. Vishwarupam is not Ghoram. Vishwarupam is the real. To the unprepared, it looks Ghoram. Are you able to follow? Is death Ghoram? When you are unprepared, death is Ghoram. Are you able to follow? So something looks frightening and cruel only when you are not prepared. And Arjuna is clearly not prepared to come to that height. What is that height? The height of looking at the entire creation as Vishwarupa. Mate vyataha. Mate vyataha means let there not be any fear for you. My brother. Why? Because when I go to the normal form in 2 seconds, idallam you will forget. You will not even remember all this. Vijayarangan. That which Arjuna forgot so quickly, we spent 1 year on it. I'm 2 minutes, isn't it? Because he's saying, once I go back, you will quickly forget all that. And where will you come to? Come to my gentler form. What is the gentler form? He asked to know the Chaturbuja form. He asked for the Chaturbuja form. So I will come to the gentler Chaturbuja form. You see it as Ghoram. Is Vishwarupam terrible or beautiful? Raga Dvesha decides it. Your Raga Dvesha is the problem. Are you able to follow? Because according to your Raga Dvesha, some looks wonderful, some looks terrible. So Vishwarupam per se is neither terrible nor beautiful. It is entirely dependent on your Raga and Dvesha. Loss யாராவது worry பண்ணுவாங்களா sir? As long as I have not met with the loss. Isn't it? Will anybody worry about loss? Because loss is natural. As long as I didn't meet with the loss. Will anybody worry about death? Will anybody worry about death? Death is so natural, sir. Everyone, all those who are born will die. As long as mind doesn't die. Yeah, as long as mind doesn't die. So as long as nothing happens to mind, Vishwarupam is beautiful. As long as my Raga Dvesha is untouched, unaffected, Vishwarupam is beautiful. The moment my raga dvesha is touched, Vishwarupam becomes terrible. That Vishwarupam, Goram, Arjuna is calling it as Goram because Arjuna is calling it as Goram because who he saw? Who he saw in Vishwarupam? For that he is feeling it as Goram. Whom he saw? Bhishma and Drona. Bhishma and Drona கரும்பு கடிக்கிற மாதிரி கடிக்கிறார் அவர் இல்லையா? You know how you chew the sugar cane? Vishwarupa, he saw Bhishma and Drona is the sugar cane. And Bhishma and Drona is the sugar cane. And you break it and skull is pulverized and whose skull and whose thing it is. இதே Duryodhanasnaka Krishna Arjuna would have been very happy. Yeah, Duryodhana and Dushasana. Look at the Vishwarupa. In Vishwarupa, he didn't see Duryodhana and Dushasana even though they are also going to die, no. But what he saw, that affected him. My Bhishma, my Drona, my whoever that my is, my family, my father, my mother, my sister, my brother, my son, my daughter, and the my தான். அந்த மைக்குள்ள விஸ்வரூபா வரக்கூடாது. That Vishwarupa should not come into that my circle. And Vishwarupa is perfectly correct as long as it is happening outside of my circle. So why he calls this Gora Rupam? Because Bhishma and Drona came. And how that Bhishma and Drona got pulverized? Skulls were broken, pulverized. And then what he did? Anybody remembers all this? And then what he did? Huh? He said, wow, very tasty. And then what he did? Something is sticking. That also he doesn't want to leave. Goram it is. When you see it happening to your eye and mind, it is Goram. When it is happening to the neighbor, we can go with the bouquet and say, rest in peace and come back. When it is happening to the neighbor, we can take a bouquet, rest in peace, and ask, you're rumba late are they, you will say, isn't it? When it is in the neighbor's house, rest in peace, bouquet, very good, is okay. When it happens to your eye and mind, oh, can't stand that. Can't. It's Goram. So is Vishwarupam terrible or beautiful? Vishwarupa Bhakti brings about this maturity. How does this Vishwarupa Bhakti brings about a maturity? Maturity is the impartiality of the law. Maturity comes when you understand the law as impartial. When you look at the experiences of life, you understand the impartiality of the law. And when you understand the impartiality of the law, your Viveka matures. When Viveka mature, Vairagyam, like twin sister. Yeah. When Viveka matures, Vairagyam comes always together. ரெண்டு பேரும் சேர்ந்தே வருவாங்க இல்லையா? Lot of Viveka I have, sir, no Vairagyam. It's not possible. Lot of knowledge I have, Vedanta I have fully understood. Yeah. Campus program, I did 2 cycles. Online program, I did 3 cycles. So much of campus program na naanga ulla poi padichom. Amit, we went and studied there for 6 years. Online la ade paathomu. So the number of courses that we have done is so much of Viveka I have, Vairagyame illa sir. No Vairagyam at all. Go back and start all over. Start another cycle. How many cycles to start till maturity comes? How many cycles to keep starting till maturity? Till maturity comes, you have to keep starting. What is this Vishwarupa Bhakti now? You will be able to understand and appreciate. What will you be able to understand and appreciate? When you are matured, you will be fearless looking at the Vishwarupa. When you are immature, you will be frightened. Are you able to follow? When you are matured, you look at the Vishwarupa, you will not be fearless. Sorry, you will be fearless. When you are not matured, looking at it, you will be frightened. What to do, sir? What to do? What to do? Go back and get involved. That else, what else to do? Isn't it? Yeah. So many people come and ask me what to do. I will tell them exactly what they are already doing and say, go back and continue. I will not say anything new. Ashaji, correct, no? That's why they all get very angry also. Correct, they will say. I say, what else to say correct? அவ்வளோ சொல்லி கொடுத்துட்டு you come back and say what to do na, go back and do whatever you are doing earlier, continue to do that. What else can be done? Don't worry, I will show you my original form. Don't worry, I will show you my original form. Please to see that original form. 50 and 51 combined, read that also. Vishwarupam over idoda. We'll go back to our normal chanting.
Sanjaya Uvacha Ityarjunam Vasudeva Satokva Svakam Rupam Dashayamasa Bhuyaha Ashvasayamasa cha bhitamenam Bhutva Punar Saumya Vapur Mahatma Arjuna Uvacha Drishtedam Manusham Rupam Tava Saumyam Janardana Idanimasti Samvrittaha Sacheta Prakritim Gataha. Sanjaya Uvacha Ityarjunam Vasudeva Sathokva Svakam Rupam Dashayamasa Bhuyaha Ashvasayamasa cha bhitamenam Bhutva Punar Saumya Vapur Mahatma Arjuna Uvacha Drishtedam Manusham Rupam Tava Saumyam Janardana Idanimasti Samvrittaha Sacheta Prakritim Gataha.
Sanjaya said, so Vasudeva having thus spoken to Arjuna, again revealed his own form, and the great soul, assuming his gentle form, pacified him who was terrified. Arjuna said, having seen this gentle form of yours, O Janardana, with mind composed, I am now restored to my nature. Apada. Arjuna has come back to where? To his original state of pain and misery. He has come back to that original state. Because we left Arjuna for so long in Vishwarupa, poor fellow. The Vishwarupam is over. Vishwarupam is over means what? This is the fact. Krishna said, this is the fact. Arjuna said, I can't deal with this fact. What do I do? Go back to your, this is the life you should live. This is the life you should lead. This is the life you should live. That's what he said. Are you able to follow? Vishwarupam means what kind of life you should live. That's what Vishwarupam is. This is the life you should live. This is how you must do. Arjuna said, I can't do this because it is Goram. It is very terrible. It is very frightening. It is too painful. Goram means what? It is too painful. The lifestyle that you are asking me to live is too painful. I can't handle this. Now what do I do? Go back. Where to go back? And he says, go back. Where will you go back? Where is Arjuna going back? Going back to his erstwhile nature of getting involved in I and mind. This is how you have to understand it. Sanjaya Uvacha. When Vishwarupam started, Sanjaya came. Why? Because it takes a while for Vishwarupam to come. No. So Sanjaya came. Now Vishwarupam is going down. Sanjaya is coming in again. And the tune also is over. Tune also has changed. That's why Sanjay Uvacha or different tune. Now Arjuna Uvacha, we have gone back to our original chanting style. It means what? He has come back to his true nature. Na? He has gone back to his erstwhile nature of he has gone back. And still Arjuna and Krishna will not leave him. Why? Why Krishna will not leave him? Either out of understanding you say I am dharmic, or out of frustration you will say I become dharmic. Between he will pull you to that two choices will be either for too much of discourses. The only way to stop your discourse is fighting is easier than your discourse. Therefore, so either out of frustration you become dharmic, or out of understanding you become dharmic. But one thing he will not leave you till you become dharmic, he is not going to leave. Therefore, what he said, I will show you. Very different. So Sanjaya said, assuming his gentle form pacified him who was terrified. Yeah, typical Indian language. Him, her, that, this. Where is Olmatanga? Yeah. Easily name could have been told no. But they don't use the name. Him. Look at that. That's what the verse is saying. No. Having Arjuna again revealed his own form, and the great soul assuming his gentle form pacified who was terrified. Now Arjuna says. What is Arjuna saying? Having seen this gentle form of yours. இன்னும் 2 verses the gentle form போயிடும். In 2 more verses, this gentle form also will go, and Manusham Rupam of Krishna will come back again. And the Manusham Rupam of Krishna, the 12th chapter will start. Beautiful chapter, Bhakti Yoga. Extraordinary chapter. The Manusham Rupam of Krishna, 12th chapter will start. Now what is he saying? Having seen this gentle form of yours, O Janardana, with mind composed. Shanti. What? You gave me permission to go back to my lifestyle. Now that you have given me permission to go back to my lifestyle of I and mine, I feel my mind is composed. I am restored to my nature. Thank you for knowing me. Krishna will be thinking. No. More than Arjuna's mind, I would like to know what will be happening in the inside of him. Yeah, how he will be looking at all this drama. What a laughter he will be. Belly laughter he must be having. What is the principle? The principle is this. We move in extremes in the spiritual path also. We in the name of mumukshatva, wanting liberation immediately and all that, we start acting far beyond our capacity. And when we start doing things far beyond our capacity, we make a blunder, we pay the price, and we have to come back. Because the greed takes over. So either we don't get into the path, or we go into the extremes of assuming a capacity far above one's own level. Now what is he saying? When you take up spiritual practices far beyond your capacity, your progress will stop. Not only your progress will stop, fear will come. What is the fear? Suddenly you are exposed to the fact. You cannot handle it. Stepping back, he feels more comfortable. That's why we stretch. And if somebody comes and says, I can't handle the stretch, what will you say? Go back. And next week again you will be stretched. That's gaming. Clear? That's the game going on. Every week we will stretch, and then you will go back. Every week we will stretch, and then you will go back. In this seesaw game, one day one will get tired. In this seesaw game, who will get tired? Don't say you, Say me. Don't say you. Kalatur. You தானே சொல்ல வந்தீங்க? Say, don't say you. Say me. I'll get tired. So I will decide to become. You will get tired and you will take a vow to become dharmic. ஏன்னா இந்த டார்ச்சர் தாங்க முடியல இல்லையா? This torture is too much to handle. Therefore, Narayanji, I'll become dharmic. அவ்வளவுதான். Then you don't need teaching, then you don't need discourses, then you don't need anything. You will know exactly what to do, and you will keep going. Yeah. And you will keep going. Therefore, Arjuna said, having seen this gentle form of yours, O Janardana, with mind composed, I am now restored to my nature. So, Vishwarupam is over. When we say Vishwarupam is over, what is over? What is over? The courage, the capacity to see life in its true, the courage and capacity to see life in its true nature. What is the courage and capacity to see life in its true nature? What is the courage? What is the capacity? What is the maturity? The impartiality of the law. The impartiality of the law. How much ever, what is impartiality of the law means? How much ever you hold on to I and mine, it will be taken away from you. Take it or leave it. How much ever you may think you are smart, how much ever you may manipulate, how much ever you may think you are intelligent, how much ever you may think that you are protecting the I and mine, it will be taken away from you. And when it is taken away from you, you will not be whistling and dancing. You will be ICU, ICCU, isn't it? You will be in that, recover only to come back into another cycle. So, mentally remember Vishwarupa. Always, what is Vishwarupa means? The impartiality of the law will make you to lose your I and mine. Thank God that law is impartial, that we all can grow. Supposing if the law is partial, what will happen? I and mine out velle vara mudiyadhu. We can never get out of that I and mine only. Therefore, what is remembrance of Vishwarupa? The moment you claim something as I, and the moment you claim something as mine, it will be taken away from you. He is the Vishwarupa, maturity. What is the right way now? Dilute the I and mine. How to dilute the I and mine? Bhakti Yoga gives beautiful methodologies to reduce the I and mine. If Karma Yoga teaches you the Nitya Naimitika Karma, importance and value of Yajna Karma, Nitya Naimitika Karma, Bhakti Yoga gives you the clarity on the how to dilute the I and mine. The moment the I and mine is diluted, you will gain the courage to come back to Vishwarupa. You will gain the courage to come back to Vishwarupa. And what is coming back to Vishwarupa means? I have the maturity not to be scared when the I and mine is taken away from me. Why? Because it was never mine in the first place. That's the clarity. It was never mine in the unnecessarily. I have been claiming it as mine. Vishwarupa maturity and Nachiketas and Yama. So to summarize Vishwarupa, remember Nachiketas and Yama. Nachiketas asked Yama this question. What is the question? What is mine and what is not mine? How will I know what is mine? How will I know what is not mine? What is the answer? Remember the answer after the class is over. You give wrong answers here, it's okay. But remember the answer outside of this classroom. What is the answer he gave? Amit. Yama gave a beautiful answer. I am that yardstick, Nachiketas. Who determines what is mine and what is not mine? I am that yardstick. I am the touchstone. What do you mean I am the touchstone? You will come with me for sure, correct? Yes or no? Yes. யாரு ஃபர்ஸ்ட் போறாங்க அதுதான் சேலஞ்சிங் இல்லையா தள்ளி ரேஸ்ல யூ கோ ஃபர்ஸ்ட் வி கீப் புஷிங் பீப்புள் அவ்வளவுதான் பட் ஒன் திங் கேன் நாட் பி அவாய்டட் வாட் யூ வில் கம் வித் மீ கரெக்ட் when you come with me what will come with you is yours when you come with me what will not come with you is not yours. When you go with Yama what will go with you? That's where Purana puts it very beautifully. He looks back at the house and keep crying. Ayyo, it will cry. Looking at the house. Enna, I and mine, photo, brick by brick, built. All of floors you are building? Moon floor, built by floor by floor, oh, built. Adu or Kurukshetra vera veetla. Isn't it? எல்லாம் பண்ணி முடிச்சிட்டு Yama will take you. Ayyo, you will go. The family, you look at the family, you will look at the house, you will look at everything, and you will say, ayyo, and Yama will drag you. Garuda Purana says that. Remember that. Garuda Purana drag you. Another way is what? Another way to go is what? There is another royal way to go. Yeah. Chakkani Rajan சொல்ற மாதிரி there is a royal way to go. Yeah, there's a song, no? Tyagaraja's Chakkani Raja, beautiful song. Yeah, there is a royal way to go with Yama. What is the royal way to go? What is the royal way to go with Yama? Avohi Mitra. Please come, my friend. I'm waiting for you. Please come, my friend. Torla kai potni, you can go. Yeah. Remember that. Vishwarupa means you can put your hands like a friend, like when you walk with your friend, you can put your shoulders around and walk with Yama like that. Abdinna, what amount of maturity you will be? That is that which will come with you when you come with me is yours. That which will not accompany you when you accompany me is never yours. Idam Vishwarupa. This is Vishwarupa. And for Arjuna, this is like for us, Arjuna, all put together collectively. This is Samashti. Samashti means it's a common rule for everybody. For Arjuna and for all of us, this reality of life is too much to take. Now what do I do? Dilute பண்ணுங்க sir. It's too strong. Dilute it. That I and mine அப்படிலாம் விட முடியாது. It is too strong. Dilute it. பண்ணினே இருந்தா வாட்டர் தான் மிஞ்சும் கடைசியில் ஒண்ணுமே இருக்காது. No flavor will be there. So what he does, he brings a little bit of flavor of bhakti yoga. Beautiful chapter. With this we conclude for today. We continue.